Malcolm, people are saying it. They're feeling 2008 energy. It is extraordinary what's happened in the last couple of days, isn't it?
It absolutely is. I mean, it's a 180-degree turn. And, I wrote a Substack about it today where I said last week you were feeling angst, which was a feeling of dread and doom about the inevitable because the RNC, convention, the shooting of Trump and how he was acting afterwards, and the whole debate over Joe Biden made us feel, and the news media helped this
Yeah.
greatly,
Yes.
made us feel as if Trump's presidency was inevitable,
Yep.
right? Really made
Exactly what
everyone
fascists want. They want you to feel despair and hopelessness.
absolutely. Yeah, and that this was one of the problems. I mean, many people were still out there shouting, "Hey, we've got to move forward with this. We have to fight, fight, fight on our own." But now that Joe Biden has decided to be the gentleman that he is, to show the character and strength of character that Donald Trump will never have, to actually fulfill that line, like they said in the musical Hamilton, relinquish power. I didn't know that was a thing you could do. Yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
he pulled a straight up George Washington here,
Yeah.
which is to step away from the presidency and do what is best for the country.
I
And that, yeah, go
I
ahead.
don't think we've witnessed an act of patriotism like this in our lifetime. And I'm telling you, I'm going to be the chick that cries in my Barca lounger tonight when the president speaks to the nation, and tomorrow when we play it on the radio, I will be once again the chick that cries on the radio. I've already started crying. Cried when he dropped out. It just that phone call, Malcolm, when he was on the phone with Kamala Harris
Oh,
and said,
yeah.
"I'm watching you, kid. I love you." And I thought, oh
Yeah.
my God, and that you can tell the emotion is so real between them. And this was just done flawlessly. I mean, you retweeted someone who said Dark Brandon pulled a straight okey doke on the Elite Four by blocking their plans for a ticket without Kamala. First, he endorsed her within his withdrawal. Then states began to release delegates to her. The biggest middle finger was in all the governors on their list endorsed her. I mean, just perfect, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just want to point out what you guys are feeling here because I suspect a lot of people are muddled and they just are a little confused. We kept using the phrase historic during the Trump administration, the first election of this character, and he kept doing so many unprecedented things and getting insane, unprecedented Supreme Court rulings
Yeah.
that you couldn't understand the true meaning of the word historic because they were always in a negative, dark light. And now you have just witnessed a historic change in America, something you can feel proud of. Something, I mean, I can't remember the last time I felt like this. Maybe it was soon after 9/11. But, the
Yeah.
feeling that you were individually involved in this history. And
Yeah.
here's where I'm going to get shouty for joy. Okay? You are involved in history now, real history,
Malcolm,
not joking.
I keep saying, Twitter threads, stop making me cry. One picture of Joe Biden saying, "This is what America first looks like." The bridge that says the Joe Biden infrastructure project, bridge to the next generation. Like, I don't know if you've seen the shadow silhouettes. Rosa sat so
Yes,
Ruby could walk, so Kamala could run. I mean, I'm just like every time, Kamala in front of the Statue of Liberty, that AI. I'm just like,
that's right.
yeah.
Yeah, but I want you to embrace that. Okay, think of me as think of me as the shouty Michael Beschloss here in terms of presidential history.
You're like
This
historian
is
for the hard of hearing. You're like that Garrett Morris character.
Right.
This is history.
this is history. We are now on the cusp. And people are like, oh, it's 4 months from now. Anything could change. Yeah, anything could change. But what isn't going to change is what I've already seen in the first 24 hours. By the way, maxed my credit card donation
Yep.
in
Yeah.
the
So
first
did everybody.
24 hours.
Yeah.
Everyone suddenly realized that this was worth investing in, that we are going to change the dynamic of this race, and that when Trump is defeated, we have a chance to defeat Trumpism
Thank you. And
as
we
an ideology.
I
Look,
started
J.D. Vance was picked as the follow-on to this guy? Really? I mean,
I
I
was
know,
I was laughing when you're talking about fundraising because on the other side, even Elon Musk is like, I'm out. I'm not backing this loser. Did I say 45 million a month?
yeah, he saw the writing on the wall.
Right.
One guy put up $180 million. We could put up $100 million a month.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the average donation there was like $25.
Yeah.
And, we now have faith that not only can we create history, change history, we can be the history. I'm sorry. I will tell you the last time that I did a big ass guy cry. I mean, in terms of presidential politics, it was the moment Joe Biden and Barack Obama came out onto the stage in Chicago, right? Right after they won. And they were, playing the music from, We Are the, I can't remember the name of the movie, but they were playing this really triumphal music. That is going to be magnified times 100. American women, African American women, men who support them will save this country.
Yep.
And I'm calling on you first. Let me have a word with you guys. I saw a poll yesterday, statistic that Trump is still 10 points ahead amongst men. And that's because there is a class of men out there who thought for one instant they could dominate and control women forever, that they would have the Andrew Tating of America, that they could beat you, sexually assault you, say what they want to you. You are changing that moment. That dynamic is going to end. It is time to counterattack against this team and take history and run with it.
And let me say something about the racism. You retweeted Zerlina Maxwell, who said, no shade to any individual reporters. I want everyone to do better covering this election and the racism. We need to be able to call something racism when it is plain as day. DEI hire is racism. Yeah. You also retweeted someone saying Republicans saying DEI instead of the N-word when talking about Vice President Harris. I mean, the dog whistles are so loud. We're going to go deaf by November.
But here's how you neutralize that. First off, when somebody uses that, okay, it's sort of like liberal. It's one of those things you have to embrace. It means diversity, equality, and inclusion. Literally, the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights. How dare they attack the fundamental basis of this country, right? And we had diversity of the lands and the states and the people. There were Jews who fought in the American Revolution, African Americans who fought in the American Revolution. And you would dare spit on that, and they spit on the armed forces all the time. We are the most lethal force on this planet because of our diversity, our ability to treat each other as equals, and our inclusiveness, and going out and wiping all of our enemies out. And these people would want a white tribe to dominate 65% of America. So when anyone uses DEI on you, all right, you have to hit back on that and say, this is the basis of America. And they want to use it as a substitute for the N-word.
Yeah.
And you should always tell them, hey, man, just go ahead and say it. Just go ahead and say the N-word. You want to get it out of you. Yep. Your inner racism is welling up to become outer racism, and that's why we're going to beat them this fall.
Oh my God, right? And I'm like, you want to go back to who she dated when she was whatever? Really? Against the rapist? Okay. I love you retweeted her. This is what it's just given us all life. Her saying, I took on perpetrators of all kind, predators who abuse women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say I know Donald Trump's type. I mean, that is just a barn burner. The crowd went nuts yesterday. This is the case we want prosecuted again. We want the prosecutor versus the felon.
The cop versus the criminal.
Yeah.
And that's the way we're going to set this up. And when anyone comes out and says, oh, Kamala Harris, blah, 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 you should go, you're afraid she's going to put that guy in jail. She's a cop. She's a prosecutor. You're backing a straight up criminal.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, the part that made me all misty-eyed was when the crowd started chanting, we're not going back. We're not going back. And we should embrace that. I'm getting that put on a 6-foot banner in front of my house. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah. And you also retweeted, now that J.D. Vance's attack on childless cat ladies has been unearthed, all the Trump campaign can do is brace for impact. Brace for impact.
Yeah.
Cat ladies are coming for you.
Did you not see the photograph that came with that? It was
Yeah.
Taylor Swift with a cat around her neck. It's like, you may have just awoken
I-
the sleeping
I love
giant
the-
here, the Swifties.
I love the one of Trump running and Kamala Harris is on a shark chasing him.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic. They're all every meme.
A battery-powered shark. Yes.
Electric shark.
Yeah, a shark with a prison laser beam.
Yep.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean the speculation this morning, Malcolm, is they're talking, and you wouldn't surprise you that he's going to dump J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance is already provably a drag on the ticket.
Can't dump him. He's the nominee. He's on the ballot now.
That's what I thought.
He's
Is
the
we?
nominee.
Yeah.
They had their convention.
Right. This is why, like this, it's so desperate. I love it over there. Trump's campaign filed a complaint with the FEC against President Biden and Vice President Harris, accusing them of violating campaign finance laws. Oh my God. First of all, this is the guy that bilked all his supporters for Stop the Steal, and none of that money went to Stop the Steal. He's talking about campaign finance. Took money, God knows how much foreign money. Okay. Anyway, not all campaign finance experts say the Harris team is on legally safe ground, but the Trump team is just looking to grind the gears in the transition from Biden to Harris in any way they can. They can try. They're going to try everything. They're going to try everything.
They think the courts belong to them, and to be quite honest, the courts do belong to them. And
Right.
that's another change we're going to have. I'm sorry, if Kamala Harris ever opens her mouth and says, we're going to reform the Supreme Court and we're going to take a look at making it equal to increasing the number of judges on the court to match the number of federal
Circuit
districts
courts
that we have.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I don't know where I'll be able to get the money that I'm going to put into her campaign. I'm going to have to sell one of my kids or something, or, put the Beagles up for auction. But we have got to recalibrate America.
Yep.
It is completely out of sync. And right now you have 6 Supreme Court justices that rigged the